So I'm going to go out to the 1 hour time frame, or the big time frame. Let's say that this is the daily. So we know we're at an area of interest, right? I don't need this highlighted. We know we're at a potential turnaround point, right? It's just an area of interest. There are no hard and fast, has to turn around, higher highs and lower lows. There's no timing tops and timing bottoms. But with some market knowledge and technical analysis, you can get some pretty good ideas of price may turn around or be moving to this area, right? Price may have a reaction, which means at least a retracement, or pull back at this area, or price may be reversing at this area, and then here are our targets. So with that in mind, we're looking at the big picture of technical analysis, and that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to teach along the way, is how I see what I see. So if this is our technical analysis, like we see we're breaking above a trend line, cool, we want to retest this trend line. This is a pretty big time frame. We're at an area of interest, cool. So now we go mark up, price is moving up, we mark up where our potential targets are to the upside and our potential targets to the downside, because we want to be prepared in both scenarios. We want to have a dual-sided mind, or unbiased as humanly possible. So now we know our areas of interest, right? What are we going to do with those areas of interest that we're going to call zones? Okay. People define zones from everything from quarter points and Fibonacci measured moves and pivots and everything in between. There's a definition for every culmination of letter under the sky, right? That's the least significant. What we're doing is just marking up those areas to define zones for ourselves. And hopefully, as you work with me, you'll be able to see them for yourself. They may be similar to mine, exactly like mine, or even different from mine. But what you're going to do with those zones is use your strategy. You're going to use that to go find your entries. So if you have your zones, we know in this case, we've got a nice trend line. We've broken above it. We know we want to retest. Where are we going to be retesting? So this is S&P, perfect example. We are pushing up right now. I'm just going to use magenta for discussion point. So if we know currently we're moving up, we'd be marking up to the upside first. But in this case, for conversation, we're just going to mark to the downside. I know one of my targets is going to be in here, the base of this candle. My first target's always going to be ATR based and scalp oriented. It's going to be based off of the time frames that we're looking at and just looking for that small amount. My next targets are always going to be looking into areas of interest. So here's where we're at. We're marking up our areas. How we're using these zones is you have 1,000 ways to get quote unquote alerted. And we'll talk about that too in a second. Let's just use this as an example. Here are the zones we've marked up. This is the daily time frame. They're not super specific. They're just real quick. What we're saying is when and if we get the condition to sell, in this morning's case, we did. We got a 1 and a 5 minute entry to sell this pair. Cool. So where are our targets going to be? You can set an alert many ways. First off, you're going to trade into that. When you get to these zones that we marked up, these levels, these take profits, to me, what I'm trying to define them as are decision-making areas, right? These are areas of interest. These are decision-making points. And if you learn to look at them like that, learn to look at them beyond take profits, and learn to look at stop losses beyond stop losses. Learn to look at take profits as beyond take profit and lock profit. They're more than that. They're areas of interest. Those are areas that you want to be paying attention to. Those are areas you might want to potentially consider making a decision at. So price comes into this range, you're going to make the decision to close some of your trade, protect some of it, close as in, like, let's say you have a standard lot size, maybe you want to close 0.5 of it. So now you've protected 50% of your profit. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is when you get to this area, you might want to apply a trailing stop. Option number 3, you might want to move your stop loss into profit. Option number 4, might want to close out and only be a scalper for the day, and that's all you wanted and you're good. But needless to say, that's where the decision making comes in, is when you get to these levels, you're making a decision. But the flip side is you also want to make a decision on, okay, we get to this level and we broke below, and now I want to go to the baby time frame and look for a potential retest, right? So look for more entries. Maybe I just took the scalps into here, into here, into here over and over again. And if that's the case, you're definitely going to need some alerts. You with me so far?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Okay. So the alerts are going to be very individual. You have, again, lots of ways to use it. First and foremost, you can right click on your chart, go to trading, go to alert. And when price comes into this range, you're going to get that little ding dong alert, or you can even have it set up to kind of go to your text messages. One of them goes to, anybody want to help me? Is it email that goes to your text message if you have it set up, or to your MT4 on the phone? I haven't used this in a minute. You might have to play with it, but you can have it to where, like, your MT4 app on your phone will give you an alert. I like that better than text messages because I hate having to delete umpteen text messages. That's a pain in the butt. Let's talk about the different ways you can get the alerts. So let's say you have this analysis and you have the dual-sided analysis. We go over what we went over on TradingView and you kind of look at those price points. Remember, these are rounded numbers. They're not exact areas. So you can set this to be as firm or as loose as you want. The other tool I'm getting ready to show you, and it is free, it's in the group. It will send alerts at those levels too. And I have a habit of using that one. And in fact, I'm using it more again recently. But you can pick like how many pips within this range you want it to give you an alert. So as in, even when it's coming into this range, you're going to get alerted before it even touches, kind of concept. So that's another option, right? Another option is if we're selling down, you can also have your golden ticket, right, send you alerts to your mobile device. And I definitely wouldn't recommend on the 1 or the 5 because that's ridiculous. But on the 15, for example, you can, this is regular enough and not too overwhelming. You can have this send you an alert just to your MT4 app, okay, saying, hey, we're getting a buy arrow. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it to where, cool, so let's go to NAS for conversation purposes. We've been looking at NAS and this buy for a long time, right? Sure, it might help you catch this baby sell and this baby sell and this baby sell. Yes, that's valid. But you can also use it as a trend trading system. So for example, we've been looking at NAS for this long-term buy for a while. Every time you get a 15-minute buy, you can take another entry. So for example, we have all those levels marked up. You get a 15-minute entry. You can come look at those levels you already have marked up and say, hey, this one's a little bit too close to that level. I want to see it break and retest first. I'm going to skip it. Or, hey, we just broke that level. This is our baby retest. I have a new 15-minute buy. I'm going to buy it again and buy it again and buy it again and buy it again. So this is another option to get alerts. Another option beyond that is you can set up alerts on TradingView at either levels is an option, or you can even use something comparable to this. You can use EMA crossovers. You can reset them every day, actually. And some people do that. To me, it's time consuming and annoying. But if you're aligned in that, you might find peace and purpose in that direction. So that's an option. And then let's do this. Hopefully I can find it reasonably quickly, but no promises. No promises. Okay. So mind you, a lot of this stuff is not up. That's fine. Oh man. And the one reason I pulled up this chart anyways isn't even on here. This chart typically has a really cool tool, which is this tool. And it is in the groups. It's actually a really good one. Probably going to take me a minute to find it, so. But at least it'll give you the name. There we go. This one. So I'll try to minimize this so you can see it better. It's really big, unnecessarily big. Here's how I would use this is I'm just going to keep it as is for a second. I'm hit OK. I'm going to drop a line right here at this fractal. And now I'm going to, I've got a price point that I can actually see. And with that price point, this will send me alerts for every breakout that I want. So I can type that in and it'll give me a sell signal or a buy signal as I need them. Or, hey, this is where I'm looking to buy. I can even program this to give me a, depending on what I want to put it as. So if I want to type it as these are my take profits, these are my levels, I have the option to do that too. So there's that. I like this one a lot just to kind of track levels. This one's awesome. And then a friend of mine, he created a cool tool that will actually send you really awesome alerts based off of touches of lines because he knows how I've been trading. He knows the track record. He's tracked everything. And yeah, so he likes the whole levels and he's got an EA that will also send you pretty cool alerts that's available too. But hopefully that helps in terms of the alerts. But I wanted to first, before we went over the alerts, I wanted you to understand that those are areas of interest. They're not perfect. They're just areas that you might want to consider making a decision. And I feel like if more people would look at their stop losses and their take profits in that way, it wouldn't feel so catastrophic. The stop loss doesn't have to be a finality of a negative thing. A stop loss is also a breakout of a new direction. The stop loss is confirmation that the higher high has been made. So same concept when you hit a stop loss on a sell, cool, it hurt, you took an L, that's fine. But now you're waiting for the retest and then you have the option to take the continuation. And then every stop loss you hit now becomes a break-even solution in your brain and no longer a catastrophic, hurtful, psychologically damaging experience. Same thing with the levels and the take profits. When you come into those zones, when you fail to continue breaking new zones and maybe you don't hit all 8 out of 8 take profits, cool. You come into that range 4, you now are getting signs of rejections. Now you know you can go to the baby time frame. You're using those same areas and levels. It's no longer, oh my gosh, I didn't get all 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio. It's one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of this, right? Sorry, I'm just yapping, but it's really important information for those who have ears to hear. But this right here, not the biggest fan, because if in the basket of trades that down there, right, this number, if overall you consistently are going to get winning trades and your accuracy is so good, this stuff comes out in the wash. Like, it comes out in the wash all the time. It really, really does. I know the mathematicians and the gurus and all the exacting kind of the science, I know it adds up. I know the math does matter. But at the end of the day, this is least significant compared to being able to have the skill set that you can come in and you can go out, you can come in and go out over and over again. So look at these as areas of interest. Your stop loss are areas of interest. Your take profits are areas of interest, areas where you're going to make a decision. So using them as alert systems is a great way to be if you know what actions that you have the potential to take. For example, your stop loss gets hit. Cool. Not a problem. You're waiting for the retest and now you know what direction you're going. Or hey, you know what? You didn't come all the way down to the take profit 7 or 8. You're getting that rejection area around 4 and 5. Cool. Now you can go to the baby time frames. You're going to look for the buy and the counter trade. If you were selling and you only came to here and you got the rejection, that's it.